I mean, everybody's careers are obviously different, but my road was a little different from health injuries to family life situations. But my parents, they just didn't know any better, and most parents don't. Like, they didn't know any better. And there's a lot of other kids that are dealing with that same situation. I would hate to see the generation and seeing what it's turning into and social media and that whole lifestyle now where there's kids who are super inflated egos because social media got to their head.
Thomas Reed III is a professional football player, mentor, and coach. Best known as the founder of TR3 Elite Camps and the TR3 Foundation. A Team USA Gold Medalist and the first from New York to achieve the honor at just 17, he now trains young athletes to develop strength, speed, and character, both on and off the field.
And then there's kids who are super talented and super gifted and work hard, they're just not getting the recognition. I want to be able to make sure that those careers don't go to waste or those opportunities don't go to waste. I want to be able to provide that for them. And if I could provide it for them, a friend of mine who has the NFL, the UFL, the IFL experience, if I can't connect with him, but he can, and I can still give that kid the resources to better his career, then I feel like I did my job.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Ornum back for another episode of Scaling Up Success powered by Cynergists. Today, I have a really good friend of mine, Thomas Reed III. TR3, how are you, my friend?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing excellent. If I was any better, I'd be you, bro. And your light is shining so bright. I just wanted to be able to give your little shine to the rest of the world about what you're doing, what big things that you got popping off right now. Let's first of all, let's take it a little old school, man. You grew up a little bit differently, on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, born and raised in New York.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. That is not a football haven, right?
No, it's not. It's actually baseball turned into like a lacrosse hot spot for a while, but football definitely was like a thing for me. Growing up, my dad put me in it. First time I popped somebody, it was a good feeling and kind of just stuck with me ever since.
Right. And I mean, you played all types of positions back in the day, right?
Yeah, I was a play tight end in high school. I learned how to long snap back then. That's where my forte in that came from. I was a defensive end. They even had me playing like offensive guard, and I was pulling on like triple option and all of that stuff back then and power plays. So I played a little bit of everything.
What do you think that taught you along the way of being able to play multiple positions and being able to adapt to multiple situations?
First off, it taught me a lot that there's a lot of technique to everything, but it also taught me how to play the game of football in a chess way. You gotta, if you know your opponent's moves and you know the technique before it happens, it's easier for you to execute on the other side. So if I like, if a tackle's down blocking, he's supposed to take a certain kind of step, to get down to the next level. So then from a defensive end standpoint, if I'm reading that and I see that step, I already know what's happening before it happens, kind of thing.
And it's really interesting because what you're doing now, and we'll get to that very soon, but what you're doing now, you're almost having to forecast how certain business options are gonna, come your way. So like I kind of can see how like being able to read the play, you can read the play in business, you can read the play in football, and I love what you're doing with stuff that you got going on. But tell me a little bit more, like how did you get to Colorado, man? Like that's a Deer Park, New York is a long way away from Colorado.
Yeah. So I went to high school in Deer Park, and then I went played my JUCO ball back in Brooklyn, ASA College, and my dad was dealing with some health issues at the time, and he needed a transplant. So at that time, my dad got accepted on the transplant list here in Colorado for at UC Health Hospital for his transplant, and now so there's a possibility he can get it done on the East Coast, he can get it done out here in Colorado, and since we had no family out here. That's when I started the process of helping kids get recruited because I was giving my scholarships that I was receiving to other kids and my other teammates. I knew I wasn't able to go to those schools. I had to bite the bullet to kind of make that sacrifice for my family. So I was giving my scholarships out to kids, and I was just banking on the school to offer me in Colorado. So if he gets a transplant here, I could take care of him and still go to school, still play ball, like basically kill two birds with one stone. So once I finally got that figured out, sure enough, the last school to offer me was Adams State, and that's how I ended up here.
Man, that's such an amazing story, man. Like there's, with the world that it's all about me type of, especially in like you see it a lot in sports. People don't give up stuff like that, man. And like in business too. Like, for you to have that type of heart, that servant's heart to be able to help others, man, that that is so profound, and then I know it serves you, more greatly than just, what you do on the field. So thank you for what I mean. That obviously didn't come just from you. That came from your family too. Like your upbringing brought a lot of that in. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I think, shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Reed, and the whole Reed family, but they definitely taught me a lot in the teachings, of my life, and also life had to teach me some things. I went through things the hard way, just like any other child, not listening to my parents when I should have.
Right.
But they definitely showed me the ropes, and for them to kind of instill a lot of the things in me, it was a blessing to have.
And that it's led into who you've became, not just on the field. Because now tell us a little bit about where you're at now. Like where are you playing ball?
So right now, I signed to go play for a team in Alabama. It's called the Alabama Beavers. They're affiliated with the IFA, the International Football Alliance. They're very similar to the UFL, but they send players to Canada and other leagues, and hopefully the NFL, UFL, CFL, stuff like that. Just like the UFL process.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yep. So I just signed out there, and I actually report for training camp in the next couple weeks. And our first game is May 31st.
Man, and we can't wait to watch you ball out, man.
Thank
Love seeing what you're doing on the field, but I know what you got going on. This is what I wanted to get to. So now we have that background of where you came from, who you are, but like, tell us about the foundation that you built.
Yeah. So right now, I have my football camps that I host around the country. The Thomas Reed the third football camps. I'll be hosting it in 7 cities this year. And the main purpose of it is that there's a lot of guys that I either played with, I trained with over my career. They're looking to kind of get back to the community. I'm looking to do the same. So we're kind of just giving that inspiration and that asset and that, opportunity to learn from guys who have been there and walked their shoes and also been to places where they're trying to go. So we want to be able to provide that. But in my camps as well, I understand the academic side is important. So I provide an opportunity for kids to get college credit courses so that way they can start their college academics early. I teach their families about the NCAA process because anybody who has been through this process can tell you it is not easy. No matter if you're a JUCO product, if you're fresh out of high school, it is a totally different lifestyle. It's a totally different environment. It's a business first and foremost. So I teach families that, the NIL deal process and all of that stuff. Then with my foundation, the Thomas Reed III Foundation, is a nonprofit that I started, which is to create more opportunities for our student athletes to build an identity outside of sports as well. So I'll be hosting, events from, Thanksgiving food drives to give back to the community to hosting my own high school all-star game, which will be in January of 2026. Giving all of the kids who are either injured during high school or just feel like they're under recruited, I'm giving them their one last shot to kind of find that opportunity, whether it's a partial scholarship or walk on or whatever the case may be. I'm just giving kids an opportunity to grow and learn and enjoy the game.
What's the response been? Because you do things in a much different way than most of these camps. Most of these camps that you see now are like so commercialized and privatized now. Yours is all about culture, man, and I love that about what you do. You want to give back to your communities instead of just like, hey, come to our camp so we could get paid type of, because like you can tell the difference with these camps. At least I can. And that's why we love work, to promote what you do because you have a servant's heart, man. And that's how did you is that just coming from your background, like just wanting to give back to your community that gave you what you grew up on?
Yeah, I kind of went down a unorthodox road. I mean, everybody's careers are obviously different, but my road was a little different from health injuries to family life situations to transferring credits to all of that stuff. And honestly, that's how I ended up with 7 college degrees. I got my 2 bachelors and 5 minors.
Wow.
So that was like I said, I kind of went down that road, and it's not, and then I mean, there's no in no way, but my parents, it's not that they just didn't know any better, and most
Mhm.
parents don't. I was the first college graduate in my family. I was the first college athlete in my family. Like they didn't know any better, and there's a lot of other kids that are dealing with that same situation. I would hate to see the generation and seeing what it's turning into with NIL deals and social media and that whole lifestyle now, where there's kids who are super inflated egos because social media got to their head, but they still have so much work to do. And then there's kids who are super talented and super gifted and work hard. They're just not getting the recognition because they don't feel that it's such a drastic scale nowadays. And a lot of these kids and these families don't know where to go from that point on. I want to be able to make sure that those careers don't go to waste or those opportunities don't go to waste. I want to be able to provide that for them. And if I could provide it for them where another coach, like a friend of mine who has the NFL, the UFL, the IFL experience, if I can't connect with him, but he can, and I can still give that kid the resources to better his career, then I feel like I did my job. And that to me, that's really what it's all about. I hate to see careers go to waste. I hate to see a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas. When in reality, there's a lot of opportunities. They just need that extra help.
How with what you're building, like you obviously have like a business plan because like a lot of these camps that I've seen, they come in one year, they're like how have you built this thing out that like you're now expanding? I mean, tell me about like, I mean, we've had this discussion, but tell the masses you're going to be at Cowboy Stadium with one of your camps. Is that correct?
My all-star game. So yeah, so my nonprofit game, again, that like, and it could be something that small, but I think the aspiration of like a young kid who felt like he had no opportunity in October or November will have the opportunity to walk into an NFL stadium and get a partial scholarship or get a walk-on opportunity to continue his college career. And it all started from the motivation of him walking into an NFL stadium, you know? And I want to make sure that those little things, like that little sense of detail, is what's going to make a mass difference for a child's motivation. So if he's like, he walks in there and he sees the lights, he sees the stadium, he's like, damn, I want to be here one day. Well, here's an opportunity for that to happen. And that's my goal, is to make sure that a lot of these kids have the opportunities to make things happen.
I absolutely love that, bro. How did you build this culture so strong within your camps that, like people are gravitating towards it?
Honestly, I think it's been word of mouth. But like again, is I got to give credit and shout outs to all of my coaches. In reality, like I have a coach, Delrick Abrams. Like you talked to, he played for the Falcons, Memphis Showboats. I got Ricky Sapp, who played in the NFL for a bit. I have a whole bunch of guys who are coming out to help and get back to the community. So that definitely helps in being able to do that. And then what I'm providing with coaches and the academic side is just is that's I think that's what's drawing them in.
Man, that's amazing. How have you seen, and you've been doing this for a minute now, like how have you seen like the growth like through like social media and technology change the way that like people are resonating with what you do?
I definitely have seen it because I've gotten a lot of good responses and feedback, and I've even had some parents reaching out to me, like asking a lot of questions on, like, what's this and how do we go about, getting the kid registered, or what's the process to this, or I even have parents who've never had a college athlete before, like the kid is in sixth or seventh grade, and they're asking me about the college recruiting process, and I'm not going to deny them that information and just tell them like, oh, like he's not getting recruited right now. I still give him the information, and I guide them all the way through until he gets to that point. And I think that's what's building that culture, that dynamic of unity with a lot of the parents who are now, hey, I think my kid is going to sign up for this camp. They tell another parent, and then they tell another parent, or other businesses who I'm getting involved to provide the resources to those athletes and to those families outside of the athletic realm. I have gyms, I have acupuncturists, I have chiropractors, I even have like health and wellness founders, like anything to pretty much help these kids find an identity outside of the sport, provide a resource to these families that are in the local communities, the local businesses. That's what it's all about.
Do you feel like the way that NIL is changing the scope of college athletics? Do you feel like there's a shift in the way that it's changing the entire landscape of football itself?
I definitely think it plays a factor to some degree, but when I think it just comes with the power of a lot more when it comes to like I said, social media and the level of attention. Everybody portrays to be something that they're not sometimes. There's some
Mhm.
people who are under the radar who just don't get enough recognition. NIL does play a factor into the identity of what's affecting college sports right now to a degree. But like I said, I think it plays a factor more with social media. And I think if we just teach the education side of it, kids are their personalities and they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. But as long as we're providing them with the information to change one situation in their lives, then that's okay. I feel like we did enough. We can't make them do it,
Right.
but we can give them enough information to be like, hey, if you go down this road, this is what the possibilities of this, and this happening because of NIL deals, because of the college portal, because of your scholarship. Here's how it would affect your degree program. Here's how it would affect your master's if you want to get one in the next 40 years of your life. I give them all of that information, and I'm very blunt. I'm very honest about it.
I love that. I love that. If there's one key piece of wisdom that you could impart to somebody that is interested on the road that you've been on, whether it's on the football side of things or the business entrepreneurial side of things, what would that be?
Stay blessed and enjoy the adversity. Like a lot of people hit adversity and they kind of let their emotions take over and it kind of hits that downfall. You got to kind of just take it on the chin, no matter how hard it is, and just appreciate the adversity because if you have a right sense of mind of how to figure things out moving forward, everything will be okay at that point. It's just about how you figure it out from that point. But you can't let it consume you. You can't let it do none of that stuff. You just got to deal with it, appreciate the adversity, and understand that it's a blessing to still be where you're at. Not a lot of kids can go play in college. Not a lot of kids can go play professionally. Not a lot of people have ever signed a pro contract before. If you have the possibility to do that, you just hit a little bump in your road, whether it's an injury or whether your business is flunking in some form or fashion, figure out what the problem is, come up with a solution, appreciate the adversity, and keep it pushing.
I love that, man. I love that. What's next for TR3? I mean, you got all kinds of stuff happening, but give us some big things that are popping off for you, bro.
Right now, like I said, just get my camp, ready and situated for the kids. We're doing a camp in Iowa. We're doing one in Alabama, 3 in Colorado, 1 in Greeley, 1 in Denver, 1 in Pueblo. I got one going in New York, and then we're heading out to Hawaii for the last stop. I got my season coming up, so I'll finally get to suit up and play again and showcase, to these kids that I've been mentoring over the last few years what I'm capable of doing and why I teach what I teach. And that's pretty much it. And then just locking in and getting the kids ready, situated for the TR3 Foundation Rise Up All Star game.
Love that. Love that. How can people get a hold of you if they want to be involved with what you do, bro?
They can reach out to me through all social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I have all of that. My Instagram is Thomas.Reed, the number 3. They can reach out to me through TR3 Foundation or TR3 Camps. I have both Instagram pages for that. But I also have my website, officialthomasreed.com, where if these kids want to apply for my scholarship, because I have a scholarship through my foundation, you could apply for it there. I'll send $1,000 check to whatever school you commit to once I help you with the recruiting process. My registration for my camp is on there. Everything is there, my contact page. So you can all find me that way.
All that stuff is linked down below as well on this podcast as well. Thomas Reed, man, I appreciate you. You're my boy. I wish you nothing but success. I want to see you dominate again this year. Much love and stay healthy this season, my friend. We'll be talking to you very soon. Once again, Ryan Van Ornum with the Scaling Up Success podcast, powered by Cynergists. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again, Thomas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.